In the far reaches of the galaxy, there was once a race called the Lunari. They had stood tall for thousands of years. Their cities had shined like stars, their fleets had stretched across the skies, and their voices had carried weight in the halls of the Galactic Council. But now they were broken. The Lunari homeworld was going to burn in fire during a terrible war. Their fleets were shattered, their colonies scattered, and their people hunted. Where once they were respected, now they were mocked. The council that had once welcomed them now called them a burden, a dying race not worth saving. Some called them the helpless. Others whispered that they should have died with their world. To the rest of the galaxy, the Lunari were already a ghost, a memory, a lost people drifting among the stars. And so the Lunari wandered. Their ships old, cracked, and barely flying moved from system to system. Everywhere they went, they were turned away. No empire wanted them. No colony welcomed them. Instead, raiders followed them, circling like predators, hunting them for slaves and spoils. The Lunari prayed for shelter, for mercy, but none came. Until they looked toward Earth. The first time the Lunari heard the name Earth, it was whispered in council chambers as a joke. Humans. One alien scoffed, "They live on a death world."
Oh.
"They are primitives," another laughed. "Barbarians playing with metal sticks." "Better the Lunari go to them," said one council member coldly. "If the humans do not kill them, their planet will."
Ow.
The chamber erupted in laughter, but not all were laughing. The Lunari were desperate. Their leaders had no choice. Every world had turned them away. And so, in the silence of their failing ships, the Lunari made a decision. They would seek out the humans. When the first Lunari ships reached the Sol system, they expected hostility. They expected humans to turn their weapons on them, or to laugh and drive them away like the Council had. But instead, the humans listened. The Lunari told their story of their lost world, of their broken fleets, of the endless raids that hunted them. And the humans did not laugh. They did not mock. They did not look away. Instead, they said, "You may come." At first, the Lunari did not believe it. "Do you not fear us?" the Lunari leader asked. "Fear you?" the human commander replied. "You are hunted, starving, desperate. Why would we fear you?" The Lunari were silent. In all their wanderings, no one had ever spoken to them like that. When word spread through the stars that the humans had offered the Lunari shelter, the galaxy howled with laughter.
Ops.
The humans would jeer a reptilian warlord. "Only they are foolish enough to feed the dying." "A waste of resources," said a council member. "Humans never understand balance. They take in strays, they collect problems. This will end with both races dead. Mark my words," hissed a rival admiral. "Al-Nari will drag humans into ruin." Still the humans opened their doors. The Lunari ships approached Earth with fear in their hearts. From orbit, the planet looked violent and wild. The seas raged with storms. The deserts burned with endless heat. Ice stretched over the poles in terrible silence. To the Lunari, it looked like a world built to kill. "This is not a home," one whispered. "This is a prison." When they saw the humans walking below, living in frozen lands, building in deserts, sailing seas that could swallow whole fleets, they froze in shock. The humans were not afraid of their own world. They thrived in it. At first, the Lunari did not understand. "How can you live here?" the Lunari child asked a human. "Soldier, the storms, the cold, the heat, it is too much." The soldier only smiled. "We were born here. Earth made us strong." The Lunari whispered among themselves. In their eyes, Earth was unlivable, but to humans, it was home. And then slowly, the Lunari began to see something else. Something in the humans' eyes. Something steady, cold, and fearless. The humans did not fear Earth. They did not fear the galaxy. And they did not fear sheltering the abandoned. Days passed. Lunari were given land, food, and shelter. Their broken ships were docked and repaired by human engineers. Children who had only known hunger began to laugh again. Elders who thought They would die wandering now, stood beneath the sun of a new world. For the first time in generations, the Lunari felt hope. But deep in their hearts, they wondered why. Why would humans help them when no other race would? Why would they share food, homes, and protection with a people already forsaken? The answer did not come in words. It came in the way humans worked, lived, and fought. They did not see the Lunari as helpless. They saw them as survivors. Across the stars, the council laughed still. Let the humans take them, they said. Let them both rot together on that cursed planet. But behind the laughter was unease, because some had seen the same thing the Lunari now saw. The humans were not afraid. They were not weak. And if they could survive a world like Earth, then maybe, just maybe, they could survive anything. And that thought unsettled the galaxy more than anything else. The Lunari thought they had found safety on Earth. But as the days passed, their fear grew. Not fear of humans, not even fear of raiders. No, their fear was of Earth itself. To the Lunari, the planet looked like a death trap. The storms came without warning, tearing across oceans, with the strength to sink entire fleets. The deserts scorched like burning furnaces, hot winds carrying sand sharp enough to strip skin. In the frozen north, cold so deep it felt alive waited to kill any who dared step unprepared into it. The Lunari whispered among themselves, "How can humans live here?" One evening, a Lunari elder asked a human farmer, "Why do you not leave? This place, there are gentler worlds in the stars. Worlds where you do not need to fight storms every day." The farmer only laughed. "Gentler worlds," he pointed to the black sky above. "Every gentle world we have seen is already owned, already ruled. Earth is ours. Earth made us." The elder did not answer, but the thought troubled him, because it was true. The humans were not only surviving Earth, they were thriving. The Lunari children saw it first. They watched human children swim in raging rivers without fear. They watched them climb mountains, run through forests, play in snow that could freeze flesh in minutes. The Lunari children gasped. For them, such things were certain death. For humans, it was play. One Lunari boy whispered, "It is as if Earth itself forged them in pain." And he was not wrong. The Lunari soon learned the truth in other ways. They saw humans fight the storms. Massive walls built against oceans. Cities standing firm where earthquakes cracked the ground. Bridges crossing rivers that swallowed mountains of ice. Where the galaxy saw danger, humans built homes. Where others saw chaos, humans saw a challenge. "Impossible," a Lunari captain whispered. "This world kills, and yet they live." No wonder the council fears them. But the galaxy did not only fear Earth, it mocked it. News spread quickly across the stars. Word of the Lunari living among humans reached alien courts and taverns, where laughter roared like thunder. "They took them in," sneered a merchant. "Of course they did. Humans collect strays like pets. Earth will eat them both alive," another alien laughed. "The Lunari will starve, and the humans will die trying to save them." But behind the laughter, some voices were colder. "If the Lunari grow strong again under human shelter," muttered a counselor, "it will be dangerous. A broken race. Healed is often the most vengeful." The Lunari, however, did not laugh. They began to see Earth differently. Slowly, carefully. When storms broke over human cities, they expected people to die. Instead, they saw neighbors helping neighbors, rebuilding homes within days, not years. When drought burned farmlands, they saw humans digging deeper wells, creating new ways to grow food in barren soil. Where the Lunari would have surrendered, humans adapted. "Do you not despair?" a Lunari woman asked a human doctor after a flood swept through a coastal town. The doctor only shook her head. "We grieve. Then we fight back. That is our way." The woman said nothing, but her eyes burned with something new. Hope. And yet danger was never far. The Lunari's enemies had not forgotten them. Raiders, learning that the survivors had fled to Earth, began whispering of an attack. Easy prey, one pirate growled. 2 weak races together, one broken, one foolish. But even they were uneasy, 'cause Earth had another name in the outer stars, a name spoken in caution, sometimes even fear. The Death World. The raiders argued among themselves. If we land, will Earth itself kill us before the humans do? Some laughed it off, others did not. On Earth, the Lunari asked the same question. Why do you stay here, humans? Why not leave this cursed place for the stars? A human soldier looked at them in silence, then answered, because leaving Earth would mean leaving who we are. The Lunari did not understand. Not yet, but soon. They would. One night, as thunder rolled across the skies, the Lunari Council gathered with their human hosts. This world is not safe for us, a Lunari elder said. We are fragile. Cannot walk your deserts, your oceans, your mountains. Why do you shelter us? Why risk your people for ours? The Lunari had barely begun to heal when the shadows came. Across the stars, whispers turned into movements. Raider fleets, hungry for slaves and plunder, had learned the Lunari were hiding on Earth. To them, this was not just an opportunity. Was an insult? Humans shelter them? Raider Captain spat, his voice like a growl. Then humans will die with them. Around the galaxy, many laughed at this, would fear Earth, a single world of primitives clinging to a dangerous rock. But those who had faced humans before did not laugh. On Earth, life for the Lunari was slowly changing. They walked the fields with human farmers, learning how to plant crops in strange soils. They learned how to build homes with wood and stone, tools so simple, yet so enduring. Some even began to smile again, their fear fading bit by bit. But one night, alarms sounded across the human cities. The sky lit up with streaks of fire shapes entering Earth's orbit. The first threat had come. The humans reacted quickly. Military bases powered up. Satellites locked on. Fighter jets roared into the skies. The Lunari panicked. They found us, one cried. The raiders, they will burn us alive. The humans, however, did not panic. To the Lunari's shock, they almost looked calm. Soldiers moved with discipline, not chaos. Pilots climbed into their ships with grim smiles, not fear. The humans were preparing for war on their own deadly world. The raider fleet did not attack at once. Their commander wanted to test Earth first. He sent a single ship, sleek and armored, to scan the human defenses. It descended through the clouds like a predator. The Lunari huddled together, trembling. We must hide. The humans cannot fight this. But the humans did not hide. Instead, an old-looking human fighter jet rose to meet the raider ship. It was small, fragile in comparison, its engines roaring like thunder. The Lunari gasped. That is not a warship. That is a toy. The raider ship opened fire. Bright lances of energy cut through the sky. The human jet twisted, rolled, dodged. The pilot laughed over the coms. Then one missile, just one. The raider ship exploded in fire. The Lunari could only stare. Impossible, whispered a Lunari captain. That human ship. It was nothing compared to theirs. How did it win? Human general standing nearby gave a thin smile. 'Cause our pilots learned to fight against Earth first, against storms, against winds, against chaos itself. Compared to that, aliens are just another challenge. The Lunari fell silent. They had seen skill before, but this was different. This was survival turned into mastery. The raider commander was furious. One ship, destroyed by primitives. He roared, slamming his fist onto a console. Then we will send 10. 10 ships broke from the fleet, descending toward Earth. The Lunari shook with fear. This is the end. 10 ships. Humans cannot fight so many. But again, the humans did not flinch. They gathered their fleet-sold frigates, battered destroyers, and fighter wings that looked ancient compared to alien craft. Yet their crews moved with sharp precision, every order carried out without hesitation. To the Lunari, it looked like madness. To the raiders, it looked like weakness. They were both wrong. The battle began in Earth's orbit. The 10 raider ships opened fire, energy beams cutting through the void. Human frigates moved in tight formation, shields glowing faintly. They did not charge recklessly. They did not scatter. They moved like hunters. Why do they not break apart? The Lunari whispered, "They are outnumbered." Then they saw the trap. The humans lured the raiders closer, closer to Earth. The planet's gravity pulled at the ships, dragging them lower. The raiders laughed, thinking the humans were fleeing. But the humans were waiting. From the surface, hidden batteries opened. Fire massive cannons, railguns, missiles, streaking upward like angry comets. The sky itself seemed to fight for Earth. 3 raider ships were torn apart before they understood what was happening. The Lunari's eyes widened. The humans. They used their world as a weapon. The raiders fought hard, but Earth fought harder. Storms raged across the oceans, throwing off their targeting. Gravity pulled at their ships, forcing them to waste power. Human fighters darted in and out, striking fast and vanishing into the planet's atmosphere. The Lunar, watching from safe shelters, could barely believe it. This world, this cursed world, it is protecting them. Oh. Said a human soldier, overhearing. We protect it. Earth is our shield, our training ground, our weapon. The Lunari felt a chill. For the first time, they began to understand why the galaxy feared Earth. The Raider commander, furious at his losses, ordered a retreat. His fleet pulled back into the void, leaving wreckage burning in Earth's skies. But his final words echoed. Across the stars, this is not over. We will return. We'll fire enough to burn the death world itself. The Lunari shivered at the name. The humans did not. They only tightened their fists. When the battle ended, the Lunari gathered with the humans. You fought them off, a Lunari elder said, voice trembling. With so little. Ships that looked like scrap. How? The human commander looked at him with steady eyes. Because on Earth we learned long ago, if you want to live, you fight with everything. And we never stop. The Lunari stared in silence. For the first time in years, they felt something new stirring in their hearts. Not fear, not despair, but strength. The galaxy still laughed at humans, still mocked Earth as a primitive, savage world. But the Lunari now knew the truth. Earth was not weak. Earth was waiting. And when the raiders came again, they would not face just humans. They would face humans and Lunari together. Far away from Earth, in the shining halls of the galactic, council chaos spread like fire. News of the battle had arrived. Raiders defeated. Earth still standing. Humans protecting the Lunari. The council chambers echoed with outrage. "This is madness," shouted one ambassador. "Humans are primitives. They should not have weapons strong enough to fight raiders. It was luck, nothing more. Earth cannot survive a real war." But beneath the noise, fear crept in. Because the truth was clear, the raiders had not just been defeated, they had been humiliated. And the ones who humiliated them were humans. The Lunari had once stood in those same council chambers, begging for help. They had been mocked, ignored, left to die. Now the council watched in shock as the helpless Lunari found shelter with the very species they had all dismissed. It was not just insulting, it was dangerous. If humans could stand against raiders, what else could? They do? On Earth, the Lunari saw the same question growing. After the battle, they were welcomed not as guests, but as allies. Humans worked beside them, teaching them how to fight, how to repair, how to survive. One young Lunari warrior, Kalen, trained with human soldiers. He could barely keep up. The humans were relentless, pushing their bodies until sweat poured. Running drills again and again under heavy armor. You call this training? Kalen gasped one day, collapsing onto the ground. A human sergeant grinned. No, this is warming up. The Lunari began to understand. Humans were not just fighters. They were survivors forged by their dangerous world. But in the council, whispers turned into plots. Earth is unstable, said one voice. They are reckless, said another. They cannot be allowed to rise. A decision began to form. The Council would not protect Earth. The Council would not help the Lunari. Instead, they would contain them. On Earth, strange signals filled the air. Human scientists detected encrypted transmissions. Something was moving near the edges of the solar system. Council ships, muttered a human admiral, staring at the readings. They are watching us. The Lunari panicked.
The Council
has come to help? But the admiral shook his head slowly. No, they are not here to help. For days, human leaders debated. Some wanted to confront the Council immediately. Others wanted to wait, to study their enemies before acting. The Lunari begged to leave, not wishing to bring more danger to their hosts. But the humans refused. This is your home now, said one general. If the Council wants to come, they'll find we do not kneel. The Lunari stared at him. No species had ever spoken such words for them. No one had ever dared to stand beside them against the galaxy. Meanwhile, the Council's fleets hovered in silence. Inside their command ships, debates raged. We strike now, before Earth grows stronger. No, if we strike and fail, the galaxy will see humans as warriors. Cannot give them that image. Then what? Do nothing. The Council, once proud and united, was fracturing. Some feared humanity, some hated them, some respected them. The first cracks in their unity had appeared. On Earth, preparations began. The humans had no illusions. They knew war was coming. Factories lit up day and night, building new ships. Old technology was reshaped, made deadlier, faster, stronger. The Lunari helped where they could, sharing what scraps of knowledge they still had, and slowly the two races grew closer. Children played together in the fields, soldiers trained. Side by side, even the Lunari, broken and scarred, began to believe they could fight again. But shadows lingered. The stars were no longer empty. From every telescope and every radar station, humans saw them, the massive silhouettes of Council ships. They formed a wall around the solar system, like a cage closing in. They didn't fire. They didn't speak. They simply waited. On Earth, cities watched the skies with fear. Ordinary people whispered, "Are we at war?" But inside the military bunkers, there was no doubt. This was a siege. The Council had come not to fight, but to strangle Earth. The Lunari felt the terror first. For generations, they had known this kind of fear. Their fleets had once been trapped, their colonies starved, their world burned. Now the same shadow covered Earth. They will cut. Your trade, your ships will not leave. Your stations will not breathe, warned a Lunari elder, his voice trembling. This is how they kill without firing a single shot. But the humans did not tremble. No, said Admiral Hayes, standing before his generals. This is how they think they will kill us. But Earth does not starve. Earth does not kneel. The Lunari stared at him. He spoke as if the Council's fleets were only another storm to endure. Still, unease spread. Council ships jammed communications, blocking messages from Earth to the colonies. Merchant vessels were turned away. Orbital stations flickered with power shortages. The Council sent a single message: humanity. You have welcomed a race marked for extinction. Surrender the Lunari, and we will leave. Resist, and Earth will be crushed. The Council expected silence. Instead, the reply came from Earth's president, her voice calm and sharp. Earth does not give up those under its care. If you want them, come take them. The entire planet froze at her words, and in the Council's fleet, fury boiled. The first test came days later. Council patrol ship entered the asteroid belt, hunting for Lunari transports. They found one small, fragile, barely armed. But as the patrol closed in, human fighters burst from the rocks, hidden in silence. Missiles flared. The Council ship was destroyed before it could even call. For help, the news raced across the galaxy. Humans had struck first. The Council's patience ended. The siege turned into war. Massive Council cruisers entered Earth's orbit, blotting out the stars. First bombardments began, hammering human defense stations on the Moon and Mars. Explosions lit the void. But Earth was ready. hidden railguns beneath the moons. Surface fired back, piercing through shields. Stealth ships, cloaked in asteroid shadows, launched surprise attacks. And when Council troops tried to land on Mars, they were met not by weak militia, but by humans and Lunari fighting side by side. Kalan, the young Lunari warrior, stood in the trenches with human soldiers. His plasma rifle shook in his hands as the first enemy dropships descended. "Hold the line," shouted the human sergeant beside him. The ground shook as fire rained down. Kalen closed his eyes. He had known fear all his life, but for the first time, he also knew something else. He was not alone. Back on Earth, factories thundered day and night. New ships rose from hidden dry docks. Old vessels, once considered scrap, were reforged into war machines. Civilians volunteered in droves, refusing to cower. Human engineers worked beside Lunari survivors, creating hybrid weapons neither species could have built alone. A council spy hidden on Earth sent a final desperate report before being caught. They are not breaking. They are becoming stronger. The council expected Earth to shatter within weeks. But weeks passed. Then months. Still Earth held. Every battle cost the humans dearly, but it also cost the council. Fleets meant to intimidate were now locked in endless combat. And in the shadows, whispers spread across the galaxy. Humans resist the council. Earth fights for the Lunari. Perhaps the council is not invincible. The balance of power began to shift. One night, Kalen stood on a ruined Martian ridge, looking at the burning sky. A human medic patched his wounds, shaking his head. "You fight too recklessly," the medic said. Kalen smiled faintly. "I fight like a human." The medic looked at him, then laughed softly. "No, you fight like a Lunari who remembered how to live." Kellen's chest swelled. For the first time in his life, he felt proud, not broken. But as victories piled up, so did dangers. Inside the council, a deadly conclusion formed. "If we let this continue, Earth will rise as a power we cannot control," said one ambassador. "Then we must finish them," answered another. "No more siege, no more patience. The humans must burn." And so, in secret, the council prepared their ultimate weapon, a fleet unlike any before. A weapon built not for intimidation, but for extinction. They would unleash it upon Earth, and this time they swore no one would survive. Far on Earth, under the stars, Kalen trained with human soldiers, unaware of the storm about to come. The siege had not broken humanity. It had forged them into something new. But the true test was yet to arrive. The council was done playing games. And when their weapon came, the galaxy would finally learn if Earth was truly feared, or if it would fall like every world before. The sky above Earth turned red. Every telescope, every radar, every soldier saw it, a fleet larger than anything. In living memory appeared at the edge of the solar system. The council had unleashed their final weapon. These were not patrol ships, not cruisers, not blockades. This was an extermination fleet. Its purpose was not control, not intimidation. It was simply erase Earth from existence. On Earth, silence fell across cities. Families huddled near screens, watching the massive fleet approach. Even the bravest felt their stomachs sink. The Lunari knew this fleet too well. It had destroyed their world long ago. It whispered the name the galaxy feared, the Scourge Armada. Kellen's hands shook as he heard it. This was the force that had burned his people's skies. Now it came for Earth. Yet when he looked at the humans around him, he saw no surrender. General Hayes stood tall in the War Council. His voice was steady. "We are outnumbered, outgunned, but not out of time. Earth has faced extinction before asteroids, plagues, wars, and every time we endured, this will be no different. We will fight. We will survive. And we will show the galaxy why Earth is never conquered." The plan was desperate. Every hidden weapon would be revealed. Every colony ship would be armed. Every Lunari survivor would join the fight. They could not match the Council's numbers. But they would make Earth the deadliest trap in the galaxy. The day of battle came. The Council fleet entered the solar system like a burning storm. Planetary shields flared, orbital cannons roared, and stealth fighters swarmed like angry hornets. At first, the Council laughed. Their fleet dwarfed Earth's defenses. But as they pressed forward, something strange happened. Every asteroid belt, every hidden moon, every crater exploded with fire. Earth had turned the entire solar system into a battlefield. Ships that should have been easy kills were suddenly deadly. Stations thought abandoned unleashed waves of missiles. Civilian freighters rammed warships in suicidal charges. For every human ship that fell, 3 Council ships went down with it. Kalen fought on Mars, leading Lunare and humans together. For the first time in his life, he shouted not in fear, but in defiance. Stand. Fight. For Earth, for Lunari, for freedom. The soldiers roared with him, their voices shaking the dust of Mars. Dropships exploded before landing. Council soldiers fell to ambushes. The Alliance was holding. But then the true weapon came. From the heart of the Council fleet emerged a ship so massive it blotted out the stars. The Eclipse Dreadnought, it was said no world could withstand. Its main cannon. It had burned the Lunari homeworld to ash. Now its weapon began to charge. Every human commander went silent. They knew what was coming. If the Dreadnought fired, Earth would die. Admiral whispered Kalen, overcomes. What do we do? There was no hesitation in Admiral Hayes' voice. We finish this. The humans unleashed their final gamble. Fleet of old, forgotten ships, frusted, outdated, long thought, useless, suddenly ignited with power. They had been rebuilt in secret, loaded with explosives, engines overcharged. They were no warships. They were sacrifices. The fleet charged straight at the Dreadnought. Council commanders laughed until the first ship rammed their shields and detonated with the force of a nuclear storm. One after another, the old ships crashed into the Dreadnought. The sky lit up with fire. The Eclipse trembled, shields cracking, and then the last ship struck its core. The Dreadnought exploded. The sound of its death echoed across every com channel. For the first time in history, the Scourge Armada had fallen. Silence covered the battlefield. Council ships hesitated. Their strongest weapon was gone. And then Earth's fleet pressed forward with Lunari ships at their side. The Alliance struck with fury. Council cruisers broke. Battleships turned and fled. The Armada scattered. The siege of Earth was over. The galaxy watched in shock. The Council, once untouchable, had been defeated. Not by an empire, not by an ancient race. By humans. By a world the galaxy had mocked as fragile. Beside them stood the Lunari, no longer forsaken, but reborn.